This is Pam from Your Nurse Advocate Consulting, one of your nurse advocates, and it is another Tuesday Tips. So for this week's Tuesday Tips, if you're ever wondering when it might be time to step in and help take care of your aging parents, or what do you look for, what are the signs, that's what we're going to talk about on this Tuesday Tip. So welcome to those that are joining us live, and also thanks for catching us on the replay if that's where you've caught us later. But that's the topic for today. Is we're really going to spend just a few minutes and give you some nice resources to be able to just try and figure out what your parents might need, and what are some of the subtle things that are starting to occur that might give you an indication that things are starting to change. So let's talk about that a little bit. One of the things that I noticed, so I noticed for my mom. My mom is 85. She lives alone. My dad passed away several years ago. And we noticed that she needed more help with her first fall. And that was kind of our wake up. She has rheumatoid arthritis. She uses a walker. But that was our cue. So just because they have it instance, or you notice something, that doesn't mean all of a sudden, oh gosh, they can't be safe in the home. But that is a wake up call for us that things are changing and we need to look at some safety things. So my brother put a handrail. She has to go down one step into her front room, kind of a bonus room that she has where she watches TV. He put a handrail there. He put handrails in the bathroom. We got her a raised toilet seat. She uses her walker in the home. She has a scooter. We, over a short period of time, we put all of these resources and things into place to make it safer for her to be at home. Now, she's had one other fall, but she was bending over trying to pick something up. Her knee gave out. She went down to her knees and she couldn't get up. But my brother was able to go over and get her up. So, we don't want to, this isn't a Tuesday Tips about, okay, when is it time, for your parents to have to leave the home. This is just about what are the things as your parents start to age, and this could happen over time. What are the things that you might notice that will give you an indication, hey, maybe I need to pay a little bit more attention to this, or maybe it doesn't seem like maybe in the near, it might seem in the near future, we might have to start getting some things in place. So those are the things that we're talking about. So, it's caring for an aging parent is a big responsibility, and you might notice little things here and there, but recognizing and putting the pieces of the puzzle, recognizing the early signs can really help you, as we did with our mom, try and prevent a bigger problem down the road, ensure that they're safe and well cared for, and can be as independent for as long as possible. So as we go through the 11 signs today, and I'm going to give you some examples for each one. Don't worry about remembering it. That's one of the gifts that we've got for you today, and I will pop that up on the screen. But we have actually got for you, and it should be the comments if you're watching live. Otherwise, it'll be in the show notes on our video from our YouTube for the replay. But this is the link. This is a Dropbox link, so you don't have to do anything but click and download our checklist for the 11 signs your aging parents may need help in the home. So boom, you got a resource right there. Go ahead and download that, and that is going to be there for you. So this is your checklist. So this is the kind of the checklist that we're going to be using to talk through the next few minutes. And so let's start to break down these 11 signs. One of the 11 signs, and they may not be in order on your checklist, but they're all there. Everything is there on your checklist, and we will talk about those. So one of the things, the big things, is unexplained weight loss. This could be a lot of different things. They could maybe have some kind of an illness or disease process going on. And when I say weight loss, I mean maybe you come over and you notice your dad's got his belt up a couple notches, or your mom's clothes maybe are looking a little loose and saggy, something that you might notice. And that could be an indication, again, some kind of health challenge, some kind of a disease process going on. Or it could be a sign that maybe they're not able to provide themselves with nutritious meals. Maybe it's getting too difficult to cook for them, or maybe they're relying on just freezer meals bought from the store. So it could be the fact that could be a sign that maybe things aren't going so well at home. Maybe we need to get Meals on Wheels, or some other intervention. A lot of times church groups have meals where they will take meals over, freezer meals, but these are home cooked meals versus, the TV dinners that we see in the store. So you might notice that the fridge is empty, or maybe it's filled with expired food, or maybe, they're telling you, hey, how often are you eating these days? Well, I'm not real hungry. Well, just humor me. How many times a day are you eating? I just can kind of feel maybe they've lost their desire to cook, or cooking has become too difficult, or maybe they're losing interest in eating, and that itself, maybe if they're losing interest in eating, we have to look at some other things. We have to look at, are they isolated? Are they alone? Are they not getting much socialization? So are they getting kind of depressed where they're just, really losing their interest in eating? Because, eating is a social thing. And if they're always by themselves, and that might be something simple that you could do is, depending on where your family lives, how spread out you are, if there's people local, again, church or friends, neighbors, if maybe they would invite them over for a meal, or maybe they bring a meal to them and just sit down and eat with them. And a great story, a great example of that is we had a client with Alzheimer's disease, and she was getting very forgetful, and just she's very confused, but she would not eat. It didn't matter if she said she was hungry or not. If you fed her and then people left the room and there wasn't people sitting around the table to eat with her, she wouldn't eat. And it was, ingrained in her that she's used to having people sitting at the dining room table with her eating. So always had to make sure, even when the caregivers were there, they would bring a lunch or whatever, and they would sit and they would eat their lunch with her when she ate. Otherwise, she wouldn't eat. So these are some of the things that could go on. Neglect of personal hygiene, maybe, and again, this would want to be a different type of an example. And when I say things are unkempt, maybe they've been a meticulous housekeeper and now things are really disarray, and that's different. That's a change for them. A lot of houses are lived in. They're not perfect. They're not spick and span tidy. I mean, they look lived in. And if that's the way their house has been all their life, then that wouldn't be a change. That would not be a red flag. But for example, if they've got pets, maybe the pet bowls are empty. There's no water in the bowl, or the litter box isn't being emptied. Things that are unusual. If you know pet neglected, again, not that they would do that intentional, but that's a sign that if they're having trouble taking care of their pets, then it's a good chance that they're struggling in other areas with taking care of themselves as well. And let's look at some hygiene. Maybe they're they have a body odor, or maybe there's a urine or odor, and you never want to be accusatory. Ma, when was the last time you took a shower? You stink. And some families feel comfortable talking that way, and that's normal for them. But that would be the time probably to be a little bit more discreet and a little bit more gentle, because especially if it signals to them that you're pointing out that they're losing their independence, and that will put them, I mean, that gets the cackles up. I mean, the wall goes up, the armor goes up, because as we age, people realize losing their independence is kind of that last step before there's nowhere else to go, and so they will really fight tooth and nail not to give up that independence. So look for some hygiene, and it may be just you have a conversation with them and say, what, they're always afraid that right away you're going to say, oh, kick them out of their home. And some people, some seniors, they want to go to assisted living. They want to be around, they want to be part of a active, viable senior community. And that's wonderful. But a lot of the times, you hear the other side of the coin where, oh, they're going to take me out of this house kicking and screaming, I'm not going. And so, when we notice things like this, it doesn't necessarily, we want to reassure them that we're not just saying right now, today, you're no longer able to stay safe in your home, but maybe you need some help, and say, and sometimes you have to have that frank conversation and say, Mom, I know you want to stay at home as long as possible. We want that too, but we want you to be safe and we want you to be taken care of. So in order for you to be safe and continue to live at home, would it be all right if we had someone come in a couple of days a week and help you with a shower? And so, that's how you kind of have to reason with them. They have to have buy-in, but again, we want to go at it from the standpoint that we want to keep you as independent as possible, and because that's what they want too. So now you have a common goal. All right, so let's move on to some other things. Forgetfulness. Have you gone over there and found the stove on? I can't honestly, I'm 66, transparency here. I can't say that I've never forgot to turn the stove on, but it gives me 30 seconds a minute. Oh, shoot, the phone rings or knocking on it or something. And I'll remember right away, oh my gosh, I left the stove on. I got to go back and turn that off, and I will catch that. I'm talking about walking away, leaving the stove on, and having no recollection at all that you even had the stove on. That's when things start to become unsafe. And maybe if that's the point. Otherwise, if they're doing all right, maybe you disconnect the stove and tell them that they can use the microwave or something. Or again, trying to find ways for them to maintain their independence, but at the same time, it's got to be safe. Uh, we talked about what, if you come home, go to your mom and dad's one time and say that they've just very good about paying their own bills. You never have any worries there. And you go over and you see on the dining room table or the desk, wherever they pay their bills, and there's just stacks of bills, papers kind of spread out all over the place. And that's another sign that they may need help. Maybe they're struggling with being able to manage their finances and may need a little help, and may say, you know what, mom, I know you've done really good at paying your bills. I know you like to do that, but it looks like things are getting backed up a bit. And I know that's not how you want it. How about if I sit down with you once a month or every couple of weeks? How about if I sit down with you and we'll do the bills together? Again, you're not taking away their independence, but you're allowing them some assistance so that those things get taken care of. And if you have the parent that if it's easier for you to take over the bills so you can do them online, do them at home, if they're in agreement with that, then that's probably easier yet for you. But again, sometimes we have to take baby steps in order for them to give up something that they've been doing for how many years. So again, we don't want to disrupt that independence as little as possible. All right. So health changes in healthcare, injuries or falls, those are kind of not so subtle. Those are a little bit more common sense. Changes in mood and behavior. We talked about the finances. We talked about a confusion. Again, loss of interest. We talked about the pet cares being neglected. And one of the other things that I wanted to mention as we are going through this, it's okay to feel overwhelmed when you notice these things. You're not alone. There are steps that you can take. I'm going to share a link with you in just a few moments. We actually do have a little mini course. It's 11 signs your aging parent may need help in the home. How do you know when it's time to step in and offer assistance? It's just a little $27 mini course, but you get the 11 signs. You get a workbook with it. There's room to write, and then we take it to the next step. There's videos, instructional videos on all the 11 signs with Linda and I. And then we also offer you what we have our color-coded 3-step system. And that's identify the needs, identify the appropriate resources, and then put a plan in place everybody can live with. So in that booklet, in that little course, we take it beyond the 11 signs, and we actually give you color-coded signs that match color-coded resources so that you know what types of resources are available for you if they are struggling in certain areas. And we define those needs, those 11 needs and more, into 4 areas of concern within the home, their health, nutrition, and things like that. So that's all broken down for you. So I will put the link up for that. Again, that's just a little mini course, but it's actually very helpful. And with that color-coded system that we have with the needs and the resources, we give you the number one resource that everybody should check out first before paying for anything, and that's including our services. Anybody that's looking at, or we do our 30-minute consult call with, we always tell them, have you checked out XYZ resources? And we include that in that course as well, and give you some hints and ideas for ways that you can get some help and assistance without having to pay for it. And then when all else fails, or you need to move on to the next step, then we're always here and available as consulting nurse advocates for you. So that is the course. Again, it's just $27. So we try to make that really kind of a no-brainer for everyone to make it very affordable to be able to get started and just try and make sense. This is for, a beginning caregiver that maybe doesn't have a lot of experience, new, their parents are just starting to get to this age where things might be changing. You're a little nervous about making sure that you know how to be prepared to care for them. So it's a really good tool for those new caregivers that are anticipating in the next several months or so that you may be having to step in with your parents. So it's just a good resource for everyone, whether it's an aging parent or whether it's a spouse. How do you know when your aging spouse is going to need some extra help? You're aging as well. Maybe there's things that you can't do that you're going to need to bring in some outside resources, or maybe it's even a grandparent. So it could be any of those scenarios where you're caring for an aging loved one. And sometimes small changes, like meal delivery services or hiring a housekeeper, someone to do the lawn, they can make a big difference. Again, just sometimes those little things can help extend their independence. Other times, you might need to consider more in-depth caregiving options. And again, that's another thing that we can help you do is look at your individual situation and help you choose the most appropriate resources for that. So remember, recognizing the signs early isn't just about safety. It's about helping your loved ones, live a dignified, independent, and fulfilling life. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to wrap this up. I have shared the 11 signs checklist with you. I've shared the link with you for that little $27 mini course on identifying the needs and then taking the next step into choosing the appropriate resources, color coded. And I just want to say, thanks for spending time with us today. I hope this has been helpful. And if you have questions or need a recap, please feel free to reach out. This is going to be recorded. You'll see it in our Facebook page. Also, it will be on our YouTube channel. So Your Nurse Advocate Consulting. You can always see all of our videos besides the Tuesday tips on our YouTube channel. And you're doing an incredible job caring for your loved ones. And every step, everything you do to help them really does make a difference. So don't forget that. Even though some days could be outright just frustrating, you throw your hands up and say, I don't know if I can do this one more minute. Just know that you are really making a difference. You don't have to go it alone. And we are here to support you every step of the way. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and we are going to wrap up another Tuesday tips. So have a great rest of the week and we'll see you back here soon. Take care.